everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live, yes, all the way live from Black Pearl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. I hope everybody's having a fantastic week. I got to tell you, I had the start to an amazing Thursday morning. I had the chance to roll up to Zionsville with Mayor Emily Styron. She had a International Women's Day event and Environmental Parks Department event, and I went up with the Honorable Nicole Bolden, and it was great to be in a room full of women who are affirming women and supporting women. We are going to miss Mayor Styron something serious in Indiana as a mayor of Zionsville. I know the toxic masculinity up there, it was a lot to handle, but she handled it like a champ. I'm just saying, like, I don't know why they want to mess with her. She's just trying to make the community better. That's all she wanted to do. But, you know, it was a great event. You guys, there's so much that's happening around the state. Make sure you find out where the people are and what they're doing. There's so much going on now, especially now that we're in the second half of the General Assembly session. But big news out of Indianapolis today. Big news. You guys know that there on the Democratic side, there were a lot of folks who had thrown their hat in the ring to run for mayor of the city of Indianapolis. But as of yesterday, candidate Greg Merriweather announced that he is ending his campaign for the race to support, and he's throwing his support behind Representative Robin Shackelford. So he says Representative Shackelford has the name recognition and political experience needed to lead the city of Indianapolis into a new era of economic growth, safety, and diversity. So Greg has stepped out. I wish him the best of luck. Hopefully he will not leave Indianapolis politics because we need his energy and we need everything that he's going to bring to the community. So I understand dropping out, and I tip your hat for recognizing that Representative Shackelford would be your person. Obviously, again, Indiana's own does not endorse in the middle of a primary, but that's one less person. And so may the best Democrat come out of the primary. You know, Mayor Hogshead is running for re-election, so I am looking to try to get him on the show. Hopefully we can get that scheduled. I'm excited about that. But let's turn our attention to the State House real quick because, I'm still trying to figure out what it is about Republicans in the State House. What are they so afraid of when it comes to our trans community? I mean, did a Flip Wilson comedy sketch throw them off? When Robin Williams was Mrs. Doubtfire, did it do something to their insides that they no longer can tolerate trans people? I know down in Tennessee, they have passed legislation to ban trans performances in public. So what, I'm just supposed to stand in front of my mirror? I just don't get it. What is with these trans folks? But the Indianapolis Star reports there are still 5 bills alive targeting transgender rights in Indiana. At the halfway point of the legislative session, Republican lawmakers initially filed 20 bills this session targeting rights, triple the highest number of bills seen in any other year. So let's take a look at those bills so you can call your legislators and tell them to kill these anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ plus bills. House Bill 1608 bans schools and teachers from discussing human sexuality in kindergarten through 3rd grade and prohibits school employees from using names or pronouns that don't match a student's sex assigned at birth without parental consent. It also requires schools to inform parents if their children's request such a change, which critics say amounts to outing transgender children who could put them in dangerous situations. I don't even understand why they find this hard to believe, because not all parents are affirming. Let's be absolutely clear about that. Otherwise, if they were, we wouldn't need DCS. I'm just saying. Senate Bill 480 prohibits doctors and other medical professionals from providing gender-affirming health care to minors, even with parental consent. Proponents of this bill say it's needed to protect children from making life-altering decisions before they're old enough to understand the consequences. Opponents say it will ban life-saving care and strip parents of their rights to make medical decisions for their children. It passed out of the Senate 36-12. I have a hard time with people screaming parental rights every 15 minutes when they want to defund public education, but when it comes to children's health care, they want to be all up in their business. House Bill 1569 will prevent imprisoned people from using state tax dollars for gender-affirming surgery. Republicans who blocked the bill say they're protecting taxpayers who backed the bill, say they are protecting taxpayers from paying for what they consider an unnecessary procedure. Democrats and LGBTQ plus advocates say this is a preemptive attack on an already marginalized community over a procedure not being provided. This, in my estimation, is a bill looking for a problem that doesn't exist. But you know what? Leave it to the Republican legislators to find a problem that ain't there to write some legislation over. Or they typically just go to ALEC conventions and let them write their legislation. I don't know. House Bill 1407 says the Department of Children's Services cannot remove a child from their parents' care solely on the basis of parents not affirming their gender identity or consenting to gender-affirming care. Y'all, this one is dangerous to me. I sit on the board of Trinity Haven. Trinity Haven is the only affirming LGBTQ plus home for residents for LGBTQ plus youth who are at risk of homelessness. I want y'all to think about that. So they're saying we're going to pass legislation to prevent DCS from removing a child from a home that isn't affirming. But I sit on a board for a residence that is housing LGBTQ plus youth who are at risk of homelessness. So maybe, just maybe, DCS should take some kids away from their parents if they're mistreating them. Get out. Wow, you just gonna leave a kid in a bad situation? This is terrible. 1407 is terrible. And if I didn't sit on a board, I may not understand the significance of this. And y'all, please consider donating. Go to trinityhaven.com. I'll put the link up. We have two programs. One is the shelter that houses 9 young people. And then we also have our host homes program. So if you're in Indianapolis and you have room in your home and a little bit of love to share with a young person who might be homeless, please consider going through the program because, we don't want kids to be traumatized by adults who just don't understand. Senate Bill 350 would prohibit cities, towns, and other local units of government from imposing bans on the kinds of services that social workers, mental health counselors, family therapists, and other such service providers could provide. Basically, what this bill is saying, if your town thinks that conversion therapy is BS and you want to prevent non-licensed therapists from, trying to convert people from being who they are to something they ain't, local control is gone. If this bill passes and is signed into law, local control is gone. Now, first of all, I'm sorry. Conversion therapy does not work. Either you like liver and onions or you don't, right? Either you like it or you don't. You don't wake up one day and just go, I'm a African-American Black woman who's left-handed in Indiana. I think maybe I want to put just one more reason for someone to treat me like crap on my resume. People don't do that. But if you think conversion therapy helps, I will show you a litany of folks who have been completely and totally traumatized at the notion that they can't be who they choose to be because somebody else thinks that they could be somebody else or that they are living a lie. Do you really think you know those people better than they know those people? They know what they like. My mother would get up. My mother in the afternoon, I would come home. The house would be smelling so good with the smell of seasoned meat and caramelized onions, only to look in the pot and see that it is liver and onions. I do not like liver and onions. You can't make me eat liver and onions. I don't care how good it smells in a pot. I am a lesbian. You can't convert that. Most people you cannot convert. It's gender identity is fluid. In fact, I'm gonna say this to y'all. I'm gonna go on the scientific bell curve. You know, there at the extremes, there are a smaller amount of people on the extremes than there are in the middle. I would say there are more people on a spectrum of sexuality than completely straight or completely gay. So why don't y'all quit trying to put people where you think they ought to be and trying to legislate that? I haven't even gotten through all my bills yet. I'm a little hot under the collar about all of this. There are several other bills seemingly connected to a wave of anti-LGBTQ plus legislation. The House adopted an amendment to HB 1001, the budget bill that prohibits state dollars from going to the Kinsey Institute. We talked about that. One of my guests probably has some insight and some thoughts on whether or not the Kinsey Institute down in Bloomington should be funded or not. I mean, goodness gracious, what is wrong with learning about human sexuality? Maybe people won't have that rape mentality if they understand how things work. My goodness. Another bill, SB 380, includes a provision that reiterates a school district's ability to implement a dress code to curb distractive behavior. The bill's author, Jeff Ratz, said the bill was to address concerns about kids dressing up in furries in classrooms. You guys know that's not a thing, right? Y'all do know this. Maybe Senator Ratz doesn't know this, but that's not a thing. People are not dressing up like animals, and the idea that we believe that people are just so stupid to think this is a thing. I mean, come on. Maybe if we had some good public education, maybe people would know the difference. And then, of course, Senate Bill 12 also seems to target LGBTQ plus students. The bill seeks to rid classrooms and school libraries of inappropriate books. Now, Senate Bill 12 is problematic because if it were just about obscene materials, you might actually get some traction. But they wanted to get rid of the hate you give, which has nothing to do with sexual orientation, gender identity. It's about, a cop shooting an unarmed a black person, and a young person trying to deal with that and what that looks like for them. Y'all don't want to learn about what black people have to go through when they are pulled over by law enforcement and maybe fearing for their life because, they could be drugged out of a car and beaten to death. I mean, it happens. I guess because some of y'all don't have to deal with that. In certain other counties, y'all don't want to learn about what we go through. Just think if you had the perspective of somebody else whom you don't come in contact with, you might actually have some empathy and some concern for those communities. I don't know. I don't know what it is about the Rainbow Warriors that Statehouse is worried about. All we want to do is be gay and happy. We just want to parade every now and then. And love who we love and raise kids and make money. Oh, and by the way, we pay taxes too. I'm going to need you to not write bills that harm my community when I'm paying taxes. But, let's talk about teachers real quick. The Indiana law, Fox 59 reports Indiana lawmakers are considering a bill that will provide scholarships to Hoosiers transitioning into teaching from other careers. HB 1528 passed in the House unanimously and is now being considered in the Senate committee. Y'all, we're seeing a decline of teachers, but maybe we're seeing a decline of teachers because the pay sucks. You're putting undue stress on teachers about what they can teach in the classrooms. You want to turn them into felons because there's some material in the library. Maybe that's one of the reasons you have a hard time finding people to become teachers and librarians. Maybe that's nothing to do with the desire to be educators. Maybe it's the undue pressures you put on them. Remember, we used to think teachers and librarians were the greatest thing since sliced bread? Not in the Indiana General Assembly. We want to turn them into criminals. And here's my thing. Harmful material is everywhere because y'all not fit to turn off the internet. Right? Wouldn't it make sense that if a child sees something or a young person sees something and it's in a library or in an educational setting that an educator can maybe add some nuance, clarity to whatever it is that young person is seeing or reading? Oh, no, my bad. Y'all want Facebook to solve the problem. Y'all want Instagram to figure it out. My bad. Because everybody on Facebook, remember how they turned into scientists when COVID hit? Remember? Remember how all these people who didn't know nothing about nothing, barely graduated high school, all of a sudden became chemists? That's where your children are going to be left to go to find out things. I don't understand. Did y'all forget what it was like to be 10, 12, 15 years old? You're curious. You want to know things. Why are you trying to stifle people? And an educated society is a good thing. I know that Republicans they have this two-prong attack when it comes to public education. First, we're going to defund it, right? That's one angle. And then the other angle is we're going to discourage young people from becoming educators. So if we blow the whole thing up, then it'll be a for-profit thing and only those with money will be able to get educated. How is that going to work out when you got 300 plus million people in the country? And there's 6 million of them in Indiana. Y'all not thinking long-term at the State House. Y'all gonna get old one day. Don't you want the person who's dispensing your meds to you to be able to read the med? I'm just saying. Indiana's own Dana Black. Y'all, we're in the second half of the session. It really heats up now. Feel free to follow, pay attention, know what's going on, and get hyped like me about what's happening in the State House. All right, candidates, I know you need digital content. Have you thought about a 30-second commercial? Do you think it's going to cost you $5,000? It will not. If you holler at Indiana's own and Black Pearl Studios, I can create some content for you. 30-second ad. No, I don't have drones. Action shots are not my thing, but I have a full studio. We can record you, we can edit, put some music in the background, and then you can share your message in a 30-second commercial at a very reasonable price. Guys, I'm not trying to break your bank. I want to help you get elected. Creating digital content is another way for you to get that done. Talk to your campaign managers, talk to your finance managers, and scan the QR code and reach out to Indiana's own and Black Pearl Studios so I can help you create some digital content. All right? I love doing this stuff. I'm here to help y'all. I want to elect Democrats. Now, speaking of Democrats, and I just highlighted an amazing mayor, female mayor, running things up in Zionsville. Tonight is Ladies' Night. I love Ladies' Night, especially in the middle of Women's History Month. What could be better than having two women who are running to be the executives of their cities? First up, coming to us all the way from Valparaiso, coming in hot and strong. She looking like a real iPodster or podcaster. I'm loving it. Y'all give it up. Running for mayor of Valparaiso, Hanna Trueblood. Hanna, welcome to the show. You're on mute.
There we go. Hello.
How you doing today?
Doing great. Excited to be here.
I'm happy that you're here. And all the way from Bloomington, my second home. Yes. People think I live down there. I do not. We have another fabulous candidate. She's got primary opponents, but we're not talking about them tonight. We're talking about her. Y'all give it up. Running for the mayor, to be mayor of Bloomington, Kerry Thomson. Kerry, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dana. We wish you lived in Bloomington, but we're happy to have you as much as you're there.
Oh my God, I keep trying to tell y'all, it sounds like a good idea until it happens. I'm telling you. You know, they
prove
say,
us wrong.
Listen, oh no, I didn't see the challenge. Look at you with your challenges. No. You know, if you eat too much chocolate, it'll give you a cavity. I'm just saying. Too much of a good thing ain't good. Hey, you guys, listen, as we're talking to these candidates and you like the information that they are sharing with you, please feel free to click on their donate link. Yes, we turn every one of these shows into a mini fundraiser for our candidates. Please click on their links. They need you $5, $10, whatever you can give to support these candidates and show these candidates some love. All right, let's get this party started. Hanna, I'm going to start with you. Tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Well, I'm Hanna Trueblood. I'm born and raised here in Valparaiso. I've lived here my whole life, and I'm raising my two kids here now. I have been a real estate agent since 2017. I'm a third generation agent. My uncle is an agent in Chicago. My grandma owned her own real estate brokerage back in the day too. And was raised by I'm a landlord's daughter. It was
Okay.
just yeah. So growing up, it was just me, my mom, and a toolbox basically. So, I learned a lot of those skills early on. And yeah, I've got a fiance who, these are not my musician. This is not me. He is the talented one. So we are a musical household, and my daughter's learning the violin. So if anyone hears a bunch of screaming cats, it's okay. It's just her practicing.
I love it. Wow. But you know what? I'm glad that you said that you come from a landlord perspective. You know what? There's a lot of legislation. There are a couple pieces of legislation that died this session that would offer some protections to tenants. We saw where, bad actors just were not doing right by tenants. What are your thoughts on some of the landlord issues? Obviously, you see it from both sides as a landlord and as a real estate agent. Talk to us
Mhm.
about, how you would approach, some of the landlord issues, especially when you become mayor of Valparaiso.
Yeah, so like you said, it's definitely kind of an interesting. I'm kind of privileged to be able to have grown up in that situation, so that way I can kind of see it from both sides. And being in real estate, I've helped a lot of people with rentals. I've done a little bit of property management here and there, and so I think that the biggest issue that we see is that the 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 lack of knowledge of landlords understanding, what it is that they can or can't do, and also tenants not understanding what they are entitled to and what they can and cannot do as a tenant. I think that that's kind of an issue that we've seen, and really, in my experience, as long as people can kind of come together and listen and understand, and we can educate people on the different things that we can do, then it'll be a lot better. Some landlords that live out of state don't even realize that they're a slumlord. They
Wow.
don't come and they don't see the property, and a lot of them are too even being taken advantage of by negligent property managers, that they just kind of assume that since they're getting a check every month, that means that things are taken care of. But a lot of times that's not the case. So yeah, I think educating both sides on the importance of their role in the relationship, as well as understanding the other side, is kind of an important conversation that we're not having enough of.
I love it. I love that is a great way to start our show off tonight. All right, Kerry, tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Yeah, thanks, Dana. I was born in Washington, D.C., and was raised on the Virginia side of D.C. And I spent lots of years in Virginia, went to school there. And after college, I rode my bicycle from San Francisco to DC.
What?
And it's true.
What did you do that
And
for?
I was raising money for environmentally sustainable development projects.
Excellent.
And but really, I did it to learn about our country, and it was the best education I think I've had. When you're on two wheels, people talk to you like they don't if you're in a car. And so I saw a lot of America. Importantly, we stopped in Bloomington, Indiana for 36 hours. We had a day off there. And I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the community and all of the assets that are in Bloomington. And I've been in Bloomington now since 1997. So I'm married. I have 5 kids. We say through mergers and acquisitions, and just love Bloomington.
That seems to be the general consensus. I was where was I? I was somewhere else, and people were like, "Oh, Bloomington is the greatest." It's a cute town. I ain't gonna lie, it is a cute town. So what made you guys? And I don't care who starts off first. What made you guys like? Look, running a city ain't an easy task, right? What made you guys say it's time? My time is now. I don't care who goes first.
I'll go.
I can hop in since I'm still talking, I guess.
Go for it.
First of all, Hannah, I wanted to mention I love a woman who was raised with a toolbox. That's
I love it.
total street cred to you. but I decided to run for mayor because I really love Bloomington so much, and I see that our government is really leaving people out. There are not enough voices at the table, and lots of projects are getting pushed forward. Some of them may be good projects, but we're not incorporating people's feedback to improve those projects. And we both have tremendous opportunity at our doorstep that's going to pass us by if we don't take advantage of it. And we have some really complex social issues to take care of in Bloomington. And the way to do that really is to use our greatest asset, which is human potential, and bring people to the table to think about what is the right answer for Bloomington in any one of these situations, and really get creative and leverage those assets that we do have in order to really become the best Bloomington we can possibly become. And I have about 25 years of executive leadership experience that helps me do that, and that will help me lead a great city. So that's why I decided to run.
I love it. Hannah?
Wow, that was pretty great. I don't even know if I can follow up to that.
You can, you got this.
No, but I think that actually, Kerry, a lot of what you're saying is a similar situation that we've got going on in Valpo. Like I said, I've lived here my whole life. I'm 28 years old, and so not only will I be the youngest, but I'll also be the first female mayor of my city. But we've really grown a lot, and we're now kind of nationally on the map. We've got had a lot of growth and changes here, but a lot of that has stemmed from these backdoor deals that are benefiting a certain few people. And it seems that any development that pops up, or any new business that comes, or any sort of decision that's being made up by the mayor or the council, it's always got these same couple of people that are involved and that are getting the checks. So, as being someone who's lived here my whole life, and I'm raising my family here, it's so frustrating when there is so much opportunity, like you're saying, that could really pass us by. We're really at this tipping point here where we could just totally roll back and everything is going to be screwed, or we can really relay a good solid foundation and move forward with a futuristic approach, and having more, providing more opportunities for more people. We're a diverse city, but we don't have diverse voices in our local government. And that's the big reason why I decided to run. It was kind of a, if not me, then who kind of a moment.
Right. All right. I was talking to a young lady today, and I'm just going to call her JV for right now, because I ain't going to put her out on Front Street. But I was talking to her today, and she was talking about how she was trying to find somebody to run for school board up in Zionsville, and nobody would do it. And she was like, dang, I guess I got to have to. And she won. So when we put our names on the ballot as women, we win. So before we get into diving into everything, talk about the significance of, International Women's Day and Women's History Month for you guys. I know for me, like the best part about International Women's History is that I get to define my own womanhood, right? No one gets to define how I should appear. No one gets to tell me how I should dress or what kind of woman I get to be now. Right. And you used to be able to tell me, but I get to be my own kind of woman. Talk about the importance of Women's History Month and what it means to you guys.
Well, I mean, for me, I was raised by women. I myself am raising a little woman.
Hello.
And that she's 10, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But I think that it's so important that, like you said, when women run, we're winning. And I think that something that it kind of came up for me when I made the decision to run over a year ago. And it really amazes me, looking back at it, and even now, how we doubt ourselves so much more. Like if I was just mediocre white man, it would have been, yeah, no problem, out and just doing my thing with, half cocked, whatever. But, as a woman, we're scrutinized. harder. It's harder for us to raise money. It's harder for people to take us seriously, especially for me as a younger woman without a official political background. So I'm really loving like Women's History Month on my page. We're highlighting a lot of the firsts, like Karen Freeman Wilson was the first African American woman to be the mayor of Gary, and you know, people like that are cracking the glass ceiling, and it's kind of up to us now to really shatter that thing.
I love it. I love it. Kerry?
Yeah, Hannah, I think that you're one of the women that we need to highlight in our Indiana women's history. As you know, it sounds like you're a single mom who's 28 years old running for mayor, and that is just incredible. So
Absolutely.
congratulations, and you can do it. Thank you for stepping up to the plate and putting your name on the ballot, because we need you. Women's History Month is so important. I think for a lot of the reasons that Hannah said, it was a great answer. And you know, every International Women's Day, I read "Phenomenal Woman," the poem by Maya Angelou, and you know, that poem really reminds me that no matter who we are, women really are phenomenal, and it doesn't matter what we look like and what gifts we bring to the world. We need to celebrate that in order to give not only our girls, but other women examples of what phenomenal looks like, so that we can remind one another that we bring incredible assets to the world that need to be shared. And we can't continue robbing the world of women's leadership and women's voice just because sometimes our knees shake when we speak. What the world needs is women who lead boldly with their own voice, not wait for somebody to give them permission to do that. And that's really how we're going to heal and really save the world. But we need each woman to rise up.
Absolutely. And you know what? I am so glad you said that. Y'all, two buzzwords: mediocre white men. I'm gonna keep that one, and and using your own voice. Right? Those are two key essential things. Because I mean, I know y'all probably heard about, you know, our favorite Hammond mayor in his feelings, you know, and I understand. I understand why he's in his feelings. He ran his behind off, and to have someone criticize that or suggest that we haven't been running good candidates is preposterous. But he in his disgust he wanted to highlight that he's a white guy, and oh my God, and it's like, I'm not gonna get down with you, you know, Mr. Mayor. I dig you, but I'm not getting ready to get into this white male. Oh my God, we're the victims now. Get out! I'm not doing that. I mean, even Chris Rock was talking about it on his. No, white fellas, we love you. You are not the victim. Cut it out. That is from me. My candidates had nothing to say with that. It just drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. All right, you know, everybody knows all politics are local. I just read a whole bunch of bills to you guys. One of them was about preventing local ordinances from establishing rules on services that people can provide. If you were mayor and this thing passed, and there was, you know, a service, I'm not even gonna talk about you know, because I'm thinking, are they gonna go check the massage parlors and the restaurants too, right? You're a mayor and you think that the home rule matters in Indiana, but obviously it doesn't. What goes through your mind when you see there's a bill that's telling you as a municipality, you guys can't create ordinances that speak specifically to your communities?
I think that the first thing that we should be doing as local government, especially as the executives, is going downstate and talking to these people in person. You know, we actually, interestingly enough, have a situation about we've got a retail store here that's selling puppies, and it's questionable about where those puppies are sourced from and whether or not it's like a puppy mill situation. And the council has put up a an ordinance to ban that sale, but that came after the Indiana drafted that bill that I believe it passed in the Senate, that basically bans the local ordinances from banning puppy sales. And so when that kind of happened, I think that is a prime example of, like you're saying, I mean, that's government overreach, because all politics are local. And if anybody should be able to make our own decisions, it should be our own neighborhoods, because things are different in each place, especially on a hyper local level like this. So I really think that we need to see local leadership taking a stand, and going down there and lobbying for the freedoms for us to make these decisions for our cities.
I love it. Kerry?
Yes, and I think that we need to do that together. The more that we can band together to do that, it is frankly astonishing to me that Republicans are the ones who want to centralize government after their main talking points are decentralized. But frankly, every time Bloomington wants to do anything that is very local and addresses our housing costs or renters' rights, things like that, the state legislature seems to want to get involved. We do know what's best for our communities, and our local elected officials can make those decisions and need to. And so when this happens, our voices are critical at the State House, and they are stronger together.
I love it. I love it. Indiana's own, excuse me, Indiana's own Dana Black turned left. We are talking to Hanna Trueblood, who is running for mayor of Valparaiso, and Kerry Thomson, who is running for mayor of Bloomington. Y'all click on their donate links if you like what they're talking about. Now let's dive into it. Okay, Kerry, what's going on in Bloomington? What are the biggest issues that you see, when you're in office, you win the election? What are the first things you feel like you need to tackle?
The first thing, and I'm hoping to do it in my campaign, I hope this is already underway, is to create real partnerships. We have a city executive branch that's not talking to the county executive branch, not talking to the university. Those partnerships are critical to make our whole community really thrive. And so getting back to collaborative government, where we really act with the belief that we're all here to help the whole ship rise, that's going to be critical to getting the rest of what I'd like to get done. The second priority for me is housing. That should come as no surprise to anyone. First of all, because we have skyrocketing housing costs in Bloomington, but also because I have spent cumulatively now 32 years of my life either as the CEO of the local Habitat affiliate or as a volunteer, another staff member in another affiliate. So I know housing, and I know that it's incredibly complex, and that it's such a fundamental need. If we want people in our community to really be able to offer our community their best, they have to be well housed, and they have to be able to afford that housing, and that housing should not cause them stress. That housing instead should be respite for them, and should be a place that they can come home and relax and recharge. Next, public safety, especially as it pertains to our substance use and mental health crisis. We just have people who are, many of whom are living on our streets right now, that are at crisis levels of mental health and substance use. And we really need to increase our public safety and bring resources to bear to help offer these folks a dignified way to really heal and find some safety of their own.
Yep. You guys, I'm going to touch on a very touchy situation down in Bloomington. You guys recently had an incident at your county jail. We don't have to obviously go into the details of that because it's still ongoing. But talk about, how did it make you feel when you learned that type of incident happened in your town?
Okay, well, now that we're talking about the jail, I'm going to talk about that incident, which is, we need to treat people, no matter what, we need to treat people with dignity. And there are ways to create safety without causing harm. And that is why our jail staff and our police are trained in de-escalation. But I also want to just say that the conditions at our jail are substandard. That's probably the nicest word I can use for it. And if we want, and I know we're not looking for a 5-star hotel here, but we need to offer space that is safe for people and does not contribute to health issues or personal safety risks.
I like that answer. I like that because we often get caught up in the incident, but we don't look at, okay, well, how did it make the person feel? How I'm not even going to ask you how you would have handled it differently because you don't know how you would have handled it when you're not there. But I just wanted to know how it made you feel. It's always upsetting to see things like that, and that's why we encourage all of our good police officers to show up and be in the community so that there's a contrast to everything that we're seeing in the media right now. Hannah, what's going on
That's
up there in Valpo?
Oh boy, I think the proper question is what's not going on in Valpo. But no, so a few of the key important things that I really want to focus on throughout the campaign, of course, and then when I get into office is, first is really kind of what Kerry was talking about in terms of partnerships. And, we have we're supposed to have a symbiotic relationship between the mayor and our council and, our advisory boards and things like that. But the way that things are run right now, everything is kind of at the pleasure of the mayor. And the council kind of answers to him right now in a way. And that is not the way that it's supposed to be done. No, we have checks and balances for a reason. So, step one is to really mend that relationship between the mayor's office and city council and really get that back working the way that it's supposed to be. Secondly, again, with housing, a big thing in my campaign right now is we're kind of recoining affordable housing, and I'm spinning that as reasonably priced housing, because, the affordable housing, I feel like, has been such a like a dirty buzzword in a way on both sides of the aisle. And the last person that ran for mayor in 2019 kind of got dubbed the affordable housing guy, and that kind of hurt him. And so I really want to take that, with my real estate expertise and say, we're not trying to bring the slums of New York to Valparaiso. We're not, a lot of people are worried about, well, cheap housing means that's going to ruin my property values. And so, when it comes to resale, I'm going to suffer from that. And why should I be, paying taxes that, go towards amenities that these people can't afford? So I really want to turn that conversation around and focus more on reasonably priced housing based on the amenities that we have. Because, as compared to the rest of the region, Valparaiso is kind of a special place. We have, we have really great schools, and we have nice parks, and we've got, a lot of things that people want to live here for a reason, right? So, and I don't want to necessarily take that away from anybody or make people feel, any type of way about that. So a big thing that I'd like to introduce here is the use of community land trusts, and really straightening out. We right now are incentivizing and giving tax abatements to these high-end luxury developers that, they're tearing down historic properties and they're building $750,000 townhouses. And, that is something that you'd have to make $200,000 a year or more to live in. And the average income in Valpo is $56,000. So really focusing on being able to provide quality, good housing for our teachers and for our police and for our wait staff and for our nurses. That's where we really are missing the mark. So that's a big thing.
You know what? I'm not a mathematician, but I did graduate high school, and If the average income is under 60 grand, the average, right? Then why are they pricing the properties so high? And if because I know Bloomington, first of all, I know the cost of living in Bloomington is significantly higher than it is in Indianapolis, and we actually have people in our town. I always gotta for Nicole. I always gotta make I always gotta make a joke about my second city. But why are these developers not why are we allowing these developers to come in and price people out of housing to the point where they build the $750,000, but the $250,000 home is now their property taxes go up, and or even the $100,000 home, their property taxes go up, and everybody is struggling, right? So why do we allow these developers, and you guys may have insight that I don't understand, why do we allow these developers to come in and price people like that and gouge them out like that?
A big reason that they're doing that here is we've got a lot of Chicago transplants moving this way. We're 50 miles from the city, and you can take the South Shore train straight into downtown from here. So they're really trying to appeal to commuter families, and they're trying to grow it and to increase that average income, I think. But what they're really forgetting about are the people that are already here.
Hello.
And like what I was saying was, if we can afford, it's because see, the big argument here is that they claim that we can't afford to, build lower price homes or to rehab the dilapidated properties that are already here. But my rebuttal to that is that if we can afford to incentivize these luxury builders, which, tying back to that first thing I said, it's a lot of these builders are the same names that are coming up over and over again, that also, go to their houses for dinner. So, but if we incentivize instead developers and builders to rehab dilapidated properties in town, or we incentivize the builders to build moderately priced homes, 250,000 and under, we've got that there. We're giving the tax abatements there to these people already. So why don't we flip the switch and we do this in a way that's going to actually benefit our economy? Because a lot of these transplants, they still work in the city and they're paying income tax in Illinois. And these $1 million houses, a lot of them, they're not shopping here, they're not dining here, and they're going to Michigan to their beach house on the weekend. But when we keep our people here, we have our police officers that live in the city that they're patrolling in. That's a better police officer. And you have a nurse that's helping provide care for members of their own community. That's a better nurse. And so those are also the same people that are going to shop at our local stores, and they're going to dine at our local restaurants, and they're going to pay their property taxes here. That's going to benefit us. So that way we can afford to build up and fix our infrastructure and our roads that we desperately need, that we keep being told that they can't afford that. And I think,
know what? You are 28 times 2. I'm telling you, you are. At 28, I was too busy chasing girls. I didn't even know that there was a whole civic engagement thing going on. I was out here chasing women. That's all I was doing.
Two kids and a divorce will do that for you. I say I self-identify as a 35-year-old. So
got it. Also, Kerry, do you have any thoughts on how we can keep these developers from And I know Bloomington is, oh God, talk to me.
Yeah, housing economics are complicated anyway, and in Bloomington there's an added layer because we have a large population there whose housing is not paid for by people who live in Bloomington, right? And so we have the students coming in, and we love our students and we need our students. They make our community work, but their parents tend to pay for their housing by and large, and so those incomes are sourced somewhere else, and so our wages don't necessarily have to support the rents that we're charging, and so that's an added layer. But I'm going to pick up on some threads that that Hanna started weaving together. You know, a municipality can do a lot to incentivize the kind of development that they do want. In Bloomington, we're missing all levels of housing. We're missing executive level housing all the way down to what we refer to as technically affordable housing. That housing that's for families that are 80% or below of the area median income. And that means that many, many people that are working in our community cannot afford to live there. That should be a concern, not only to our community just because of the ability to welcome people to live where they work, but also because if we want those higher paying jobs, we are going to have to we're going to have to grow some kind of some higher wage jobs, which means we have to welcome some new people into our community. And so it's self-perpetuating if we don't start to crack the nut somehow. And so some things, some very simple things that government can do, a city in particular, is to roll back some of the red tape, which is not to say that we lessen the restrictions, but instead we begin to interpret what these laws are for developers that we want developing the kind of housing that we want before they start drawing their plans. So we keep our very high standards, but we say, listen, if you want to play in Bloomington and you want to develop housing for our people, which we want you to do, this is what it's going to have to look like. These are the obligations that you have, et cetera. Next, Bloomington is an entitlement community, so we get CDBG and home dollars.
Okay, wait. What's an entitlement community? I've never heard that before.
Okay, so I know I don't love entitled people, but an entitlement community means that our HUD dollars come directly from the feds. They don't go to the state, and so we don't compete with other communities. We have an allocation that comes directly to us. We can prioritize those dollars for the housing that we want, and so we can incentivize developers and hopefully keep and I think we should demand then that we suppress the cost of housing, that development subsidy goes directly to the end user, not to the developer. So we can subsidize things like infrastructure. And so while we're interpreting and sort of acting as a liaison for guiding people through the process. And, you know, at Habitat, I was the largest single family home developer in the county for the last 9 years I was there.
Wow.
Even at Habitat, when I would take a development, a new neighborhood through the plan commission and through the city process, those changes that surprise you at the end, they can cost up to $250,000.
Wow.
Well, who do you think pays for that? The homeowners or the renters in that case, right? So just by interpreting those laws and investing on the front end in enough staff that can actually interpret, you can actually assist in the cost of housing.
I love it.
It's very real.
I love it. Those are great answers. I'm gonna switch gears just a little bit because the more you guys talked, it made me want to ask this question. What is your leadership style like? I mean, you're going to be the executive. You're going to be the boss of the city. You know, you're going to be boss ladies. What's your leadership style like? Kerry, you go first.
Yeah, I actually hate being called a boss because I really look at myself as a partner with the team that I get to work with. But I believe in a distributed leadership model, Dana. And so what that means and what that's always meant for me is that we have a vision and we set big goals. And then the second tier, so whoever's next in line, and this would be department heads at the city level, they have their part of that mission. So planning department, you have this, and community and family resources, you have this, and they know what their job is and what they need to get done within that mission. And then I really let them lead. I set good guardrails. So here's the limits of authority. Here's when you need to check back with the mayor's office or council or whatever it is. But then I really want you to lead. I want you to make decisions on the ground. I want you to hire a great team. And I want you to tell that team every day what they're doing to make this city better, so that they understand that even the person who may not be able to say, "Oh, I'm making my city better," I'm sweeping the floor or whatever it is. That actually is making people at City Hall or in the utilities building, wherever it is, making them feel welcome and safe in our community. And so every person on that team should feel valued and should know what piece of the pie they are leading towards.
I love it. Hannah?
Yeah, that's a great answer. The word that immediately came to mind when you asked about that would be collaborative. I mean, pretty much exactly what Kerry is saying is, maybe the boss lady, but there's, like I said earlier, checks and balances, and we all need to work together on that, and really being the kind of an open book leader in a way that we're really looking for and asking for the input from our community, because at the end of the day, it's not just my city, it's my neighbor's city, and it's that council person's city. It's everybody's city, and everybody's voice needs to be valued to the same degree.
But I love y'all's answers, but you know what, when you're the mayor, the buck stops with you.
Mm-hmm.
How comfortable are you all at making the tough choice, the tough decision?
I think when you take the top leadership level in any organization, what that means is that you have to take on the really hardest decisions and take ownership for them. And it's not fun. I mean, they say it's lonely at the top. It's because really, everywhere else, the stuff rolls downhill, but it rolls uphill in leadership. And so it's really important to know that you have to own the really hard stuff, and that you really need to give the credit to the people who are doing the work. And so it does create a situation where you have to know within you that you are contributing to something, so that you can take the hard stuff and give credit where credit's due to your team.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, and I would agree, it's not always easy being the leader, because you definitely have to take the fall for everything. Even things that aren't necessarily your fault become your fault when you're in that executive leader. So, I mean, and as being basically a self-employed business owner, I've experienced that a lot, having to make those decisions in my own business, and how I operate and the way that things happen. I think that when you're the mayor of a city, you really need to just lean into the morals and the ethics, and that's really the way that I think making tough decisions. I think at the end of the day, the best way to make those decisions is that whole thing of like, is it kind, is it necessary, really having that in mind of is this really going to benefit the masses, is this the right thing to do, if this were to happen to me, how would I feel? And that's really the way that I look at it.
I think that's great. Well, both of those answers were amazing, because I think you basically, both of you are basically saying, I have to put myself in somebody else's shoes to make the sound decision. It's not just about how it's going to affect me, but how is it going to impact, the majority. And you're not always going to get it right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you handle a situation when you've made a mistake?
I think the first step that our leadership right now is really losing out on is admitting the fact that you made a mistake. Saying, oh yeah, okay, I screwed up on that. Now let's figure out, how to fix it, is really what it is. Because, I think a lot of people in politics, especially, people, make mistakes and they dig a hole because they don't want to admit it, and they're embarrassed, or they're, whatever. They've got someone in their ear telling them to cover it up. And then, you keep digging the hole. Eventually, you're going to be so far underground, there's no way that you can even come out on top. So, admitting that mistake and really looking for a solution instead of finding another problem is the way that I will do that.
Oh man, Kerry?
I think this goes, I wholeheartedly agree, Hannah, great answer. It goes back to that leadership question. you do have to own when things haven't gone right. And frankly, in every job that I have had, especially at the executive level, things go wrong. The responsibility of an executive of any complex organization is that you have to manage ambiguity every single day, and sometimes often that means you're doing things you've never stepped into before, because the city has a new crisis or something else, and you know you have to manage with that moral compass, and really listen to that, and if you listen to too many other voices, especially in those crisis moments, you need your advisors, but you need to get to a point where you can understand, I am making my best decision now, and if it's not right, I am going to admit that I made a mistake and take actions to correct it.
I love it. I love it. Those are great answers because, I mean, again, we could talk about policy issues all day long. It's how you handle those policy issues. All right, last question before I get to, where people can find you, because it's already that time. I know it goes by quick. I know. I don't care who goes first. I'm going to give you a half a second to think about it. What makes you the right person to be the mayor of your city?
I have the leadership experience doing this in other venues, and also I am the one who is committed to a broad cross-section of our community and lifting up those voices and creating tables where there aren't any now, and getting them to be as involved in city government as they'd like to be, but especially having people understand that I genuinely do want to know how we can continually improve.
I love it.
Yeah, good answer. Well, I'm the best choice to be the next mayor of Valparaiso because I've lived here my whole life and I'm raising my children here, so I have a vested interest in the city's success, for one, and for two, exactly what Kerry was saying. I'm not here to shut everybody out and to keep pulling chairs away from the table. I'm going to be building a bigger table that is allowing for the voices in the city to actually be heard and to really set a new standard for what local politics and just politics in general looks like and what it really means to be not just a good Democrat, but a good person and a good leader in a community.
I love it. And claim that Democrat. I am so sick. I understand that there are certain communities where, the Jewish space laser believers live and, they can't just run around and be like, rah, rah, I'm a Democrat. But I love that. Own it. I mean, because we put people over politics. We put people over profits. We are about people, and we just got to keep sharing that message about how we want to help people. Now, you can't fix stupid, but we can keep on trying to let folks know that, if you vote for Democrats, you're looking out for your economic interests, your children's educational interests, your financial interests, because we care about people. So thank you for saying that. We are Democrats. All right, Miss Hanna, tell the people where they can find you.
Well, you can go to Facebook or Instagram, Hanna for Mayor, and then hopefully soon we'll have hannaformayor.com up.
Love it. I love it. Kerry, where can the people find you?
Yeah, so I'm at Kerry, Kerry, at kerryforbloomington.com is my email, and kerryforbloomington.com is our everything. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the web.
And do either of you have any events coming up where you're maybe needing some volunteers, fundraisers?
Yes.
Always.
Yes, we canvass every Friday evening from 5 to 7, Saturdays 10 to noon, 1 to 3, and 1 to 3 on Sundays. And we love volunteers. You can find a list of events on our website, and we have a myriad of forums and debates coming up in Bloomington.
I love it.
That's great. Yeah, we've got we'll phone bank most evenings, either at the office or virtual. We're doing a postcard writing party at my campaign headquarters on Sunday, and anybody that is not local that still wants to help with anything like that, we can mail you postcards, and you can virtually phone bank from anywhere. That's all I'm saying. So
I love it. I love it.
it.
I love it. I got to tell you, Kerry, I know that you will appreciate this when I say this, because I know, we graduated high school probably in the last century, didn't we? We between the two of us. Listen,
I did.
it right? Listening to Hanna tonight, wasn't it incredibly refreshing?
Hanna, you are incredible. And I'm a total fan, and
I'm
I am
fangirling.
supporting you.
I
And
appreciate that.
I am so impressed.
And it's not that I don't think that Kerry is impressed. I mean, but we're kind of seasoned, and so there are certain.
I'm old.
There's an expectation when you're seasoned and you're on this side of 50. But and you are, Hanna, right now you are dispelling everything that folks have been saying about millennials and what they are and what they're. You're showing them. Nah, I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm Hanna Trueblood. What's happening? You know what I'm saying? Like, Kerry, I know you feeling what I'm saying. It's not that I don't love you too.
I am Dana, but I am on Hannah's side of 50. So
okay, that's what's
watch
up.
it.
Okay, hey, it's all good. I'm the old head. I'm claiming it, y'all. Thank
Hannah,
you.
keep going.
Oh,
Yes,
that's great.
keep
I
going.
appreciate that. I get told all the time I'm too young or not experienced
No.
enough, but I claim the young age as an asset instead of a liability.
I love
Same
it.
thing as I do
Absolutely.
with the D behind my name.
I
It's an
love
asset
it.
all the way.
Be your authentic self, and no, you are never too young. I remember telling a young lady I wanted to date. She told me I was too young. I said I got my driver's license and I'm potty trained. What am I too young for? You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Indiana's own Dana Black. Tonight, I had the pleasure of talking to two more mayoral candidates. Think about it, y'all. I've had 3 women on who are running for mayor, and I've got more. There are more women running for executive levels in Indiana than in history. They everywhere, up and down the state, north, south, east, west, big cities, small towns. Women have put their names on the ballot to run their cities, and I am so stoked about it. I cannot tell y'all how exciting it is to see that as women, we know that we are more than capable. And oh, by the way, they're intelligent. It just so happens that they were women. I mean, you don't have to elect stupid people. Y'all really don't. Y'all really don't. Y'all can choose to elect intelligent people. Indiana's own Dana Black. Thank you so much, y'all, for joining me tonight. This was an amazing conversation. I really enjoyed talking to the two of you. The chemistry was amazing. It's got my brain cells all tickling up in there. Y'all remember, I've got candidates every week between now and the primary. We are booked up, and I've already started booking candidates who didn't have a primary opponent for after the primary season. Indiana's own Dana Black and Turn Left is your premier location to learn about the candidates who will be on your ballot up and down the state. I know y'all really don't get down until there's a president on the ballot, but this year we got all municipal races, all politics are local. You need to know who is going to fix your pothole. That's all I'm saying. You want to know who's picking up your trash. You know what I'm saying? Those are things you want to know, and you can follow those folks right here on Turn Left every Thursday live. And then if you missed the live show, scoot on over to my YouTube page. Just Google Indiana's own Dana Black on my Google page. And I am so far gone now. My show is a podcast on any platform that you listen to podcasts. So you can take Turn Left and all these fabulous candidates with you. No matter where, Spotify, Apple, Google, does not matter. You will be able to find Turn Left, hosted by Indiana's own Dana Black, on all of those platforms. All right, I love doing the live show because it gives these candidates an opportunity to put their chops. You know, it's nothing like doing a live interview, because my philosophy is this. What if they win? What if the candidate that is on the ballot wins and they never had an interview? We want all of our candidates to be prepared. We want them to be prepared. So make sure you tune in every Thursday for the live. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat. I'm talented enough now that I can actually read them. I've learned over the years. And tune in every week so you can find out who is on your ballot. In the meantime, I will holler at y'all next week. Peace. Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions. Executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by www.bensound.com.